Hey guys, let's talk about Deltarune. Now, we got my Twitter here that I just said about Deltarune being a metaphor for um, the old games we cast aside, which I still more or less believe. But I watched game theory about it, and I usually don't watch game theories, but Deltarune and Undertale, great games. Uh, I can't just stifle myself from the content created from it. So here's the thing. I've said from the beginning that this is a prequel, right? That Deltarune is a prequel. Now, first off, one thing is probably gonna go in the direction of like Earthbound, or the Mother series. And you can tell that Toby Fox takes a lot of inspiration from Mother, and I feel like that's the direction it's going to do. Well, that's the real world example. But what about the story? What about the context? People have lived different lives in the world of Deltarune compared to the world of Undertale, and then in Deltarune, you have no your choices don't really matter. The outcome is more or less the same, whether you kill, fight, uh, or be nice to enemies, right? Be nice to opponents. And I think the thing about this is let's see, that it is a prequel because the relationships haven't happened yet. For me, at least, a lot of the things that tie back come into play, and then if you ever played Deltarune to the end, you go into town, you go all the way down. I think that's where the underground is. Um, there's like a hill with a door. That's where the underground is. I think that's where Chris, the protagonist of Deltarune, is going to explore later, um, or have access to during like a time of crisis or something like that. Um, but this is all before the Frisk storyline, right? How do your choices that don't matter culminate into choices that do matter? Chris is probably granted the ability to rewrite history, right? He's he's always been the lone child, the one without the achievements, the one that's followed behind in his excellent brother's footsteps. And he's probably feeling hate, regret, a lot of things that will make him hate Asriel. Hate Asriel so much that he gains enough power, and the first thing he thinks about is putting Asriel in the most situation where he's gonna suffer the most, and that is Undertale. Chris is gonna lock Asriel into Undertale, and it's more or less, and everything gets rewritten because of it. The monsters get set on the ground because maybe Chris doesn't like the monsters after a while. As you see at the end of Deltarune, the scene where Chris rips out his heart, he's just locking in his choice, right? Like, you have nothing to do after that. It is Chris that is moving the storyline, and you can't stop him or her from completing his task to make Undertale. And I think it's perfect because it ties into this, right? He's making a game. He's making a game that is both different from the old games and more compelling than the newer games. And I think that's how the storyline will go. I really think that Deltarune is a prequel that will create that Chris is the main, I would say, antagonist, right? And then he'll punish everyone for the life that Chris has lived. Because look at this, Chris is a depressed kid. He doesn't do anything, right? Because he doesn't feel like anything matters because his choices don't matter, and he's just going around trying to live his life. But then he knows that he's stuck in this position his whole life, and then finally in another chapter, he's just gonna he's just gonna attack everyone at the end. And because of this, Asriel lives a different life without Chris. We get there was a little photo for like that says "Don't forget" in Sans's and Papyrus's house. I think it's just Sans, Papyrus, and Chris, right? Because Chris hung out, right? Chris hung out with them one day, because we know that when you visit the town at the end of Deltarune, we know that Sans sets up a meeting with Papyrus and Chris, and I think that's where you get the photo from. And it's just a tie-in also with the Deltarune symbol as well. And Banish the Angel's Heaven, you have Asriel, who looks basically like an angel, right? Chris banishes the Angel's Heaven. Chris banishes Asriel to the world of Undertale. I don't know. I would just say this is really just most of my claim for Undertale is a prequel or not, but I just want to say that I just want to give my opinion on why other people should believe that it's not just an alternate universe. It's not just an alternate history. It could maybe well be the prequel to Undertale. And I don't have a solution on why choices do matter now. Maybe because Chris is out of the picture. Maybe because Chris, the embodiment of control, loses himself into making this world. I don't know, but I'm really interested in the next chapters, and I hope it comes out after Toby gets a team together, releases the chapters all at once, and we buy it for like $20 or something, 25 bucks. It is really like maybe 1/3 of the length of Undertale, and that's a lot of work still. Undertale was not a really long game, but it's got a lot of quirks. It's got a lot of things that you had to program. It's got a lot of got funny dialogue that you had to write yourself, and there was lots of stuff that he did with the bounding box of text, with the bounding box of the battle, and there's a lot more freedom in the in Deltarune's combat system. Well, freedom in a sense, right? But everyone else is controlling the environment your soul is in. And it's always been that way. I don't know if there's going to be a scene where they're going to change that up more. And maybe you're the one attacking. Maybe like the Metaton fight where you're just shooting lasers or something. I don't know. But this is all I have to say about Deltarune being a prequel to Undertale. See you guys next time in the next video. Bye bye.